This episode contains discussions about suicide and mental illness. Discretion is advised.
Hey, I'm Liv Phyland and this is the Assuria podcast channel. In this series, What I Wish I Knew, we are diving into the art of being your own boss without becoming your worst employee. Now, if work-life balance looks like checking your emails at 11 p.m. while binge watching your favourite show, there might be a few tips for you. Let's jump into it. So, Marc,
Yes.
You have actually been on an episode before, but can you please tell everybody who you are, the beautiful Bogan?
Marc Ryan, the beautiful Bogan. I do stand-up comedy. I run Fairy Floss and Chaos, which is an entertainment company based around that, and we mix in the breaking down a stigma around mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Josh Butt, the absolute creative genius and the founder of Ampel. Can you kind of tell us, what you do? I know you do a lot, and a bit about your business.
So Ampel, my business Ampel, does sonic branding, podcasts, and just everything audio. But we also have podcast studios that we have at Myrtle and Pine studio facility, and they're you're in it right now, what we're doing. And so we make the podcasts like these, and we help people to have a brand sound, have a podcast channel, not just shows, and then the facilities to make them in video, audio, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. But, I think what we also try and do is push people to be a bit more creative, have a bit more fun while they're making it, and a podcast channel's a really good approach to do that.
Yeah, beautiful. Now, I want to talk to you guys about being your own boss, and I suppose the realities of running a business. Now, I think that it can sometimes look like it's a little bit more glamorous, or it can be glorified. And so I want to get your opinion of the reality, like what is actually happening and what it actually takes to be your own boss.
Well, you have to be self-motivating. You have to get, for me in particular, I sat down with my tax accountant a month ago, and we looked at the case that I'd done in the first 4 months of the year, and he said, "Oh, you got an extra zero on there." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "That's 15,000." I said, "Yeah, I've done 15,000 Ks on the road in 4 months." And he was like, "No, that's not right." Yeah, I drive in my car a lot, and I go to rural centres a lot, and I spend a lot of time by myself just driving, and more driving. So you got to be motivated to do that.
Mm-hmm. And what do you feel like the pros and cons of working for yourself are?
I've got to hang out with myself a lot, which I don't particularly like. It's a bit annoying. I can annoy myself. But there's also, I get to drink coffee when I want, or I get to, have downtime when I want, and, a bit more flexibility.
Yeah. Josh, what about you? What are the realities behind being your own boss, both positive and negative, I suppose?
It's kind of like being a parent, right? Like you really just don't know what you're doing until you're doing it. And so you don't know how hard it's going to be. You don't know the hours, how tired, and if you have kids, just how extra difficult it is. So like my advice to people having kids, have them early. Businesses, try and do it as early as you can. But also it can be like a step change into a different direction, and it can make you fulfill a dream or an ambition that you've always had, and no one's going to give you that chance, so you can just take it. So I think that there's those, it's a positive and negative, but the variety of hats that you all wear may mean that you're constantly working in places where you're not actually very good at.
Yeah.
So the opportunity there is to fix stuff that you're not good at and continuously improve as a person. But on the flip side, it just becomes very frustrating, and you get bogged down in stuff you hate. And so, managing your emotions and your health and self-care is really important.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Sorry, I'm sitting here laughing because you you just mentioned about parenting and starting a business. And yes, I will be giving birth and launching my business with 1 month apart. So I really haven't nailed the timing of that. But I mean, I work well under pressure, so hopefully that's the push I need.
Yeah, but on timing, you set your own timelines, and I think, you've just got to be really, accommodating the fact that you've never done two things at the same time. They're both really hard and take up all your time. So there's only so much of you to give. So, that's where I think what I'm starting to get better at now after 7 years is actually just trying to do less.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Yeah, interesting. You touched on it before, but the notion of wearing so many hats, and I think the earlier on in your business you are, the more hats you wear. And can you kind of touch on that, like some of the hats? I know it's really different for every single business, but how you go about wearing that many hats, and when is the time that you can sort of, you know, hand some of those hats off? Because I think sometimes people don't know when to do that, especially if it's your own baby and you kind of can micromanage. So yeah, can you kind of talk us through that notion of balancing so much in the early phases?
Yeah, with the benefit of hindsight and having made the same mistake multiple times, because you will make the same mistake multiple times, and it's so annoying when people say, well, we'll just make that mistake and then we'll never do it again.
Right.
You're
like, I will never learn.
I'm sorry, but that's just like, I'd like to meet the people who can do that. But you do it a few times and then you get the hang of it because you know what it looks like, you know what it feels like. But like anything to do with accounting, legal, you know, you do need to hand that off at some point, but you really need to be doing a bit of it yourself as well. And I think so that's that. But then you're also like dealing with, you're a director of a company, so you have to deal with that.
You don't always get to play in the field that is your strength or that you enjoy the most.
Yeah. And then like, you know, new biz development, like a lot of people don't like doing new business, right? New biz closing, like really hard, very different to opening.
Do you think it is important to trial as many of those hats so that you know a little bit about that area of the business? Or if you had the capacity, say you had enough money to sort of outsource sooner, the benefits of that is obviously things move a lot quicker, which is great. But do you think it is important for the founder or the business owner to have some experience in each area, just even a little bit?
I don't think you can have a business without knowing how the business runs.
Across the board.
I think it's why when kids inherit a business and they've grown up in the mail room, they're like they can be really efficient and effective leaders because they really understand from every perspective. Hopefully, you know, I'm building a business to give to my kids, and I think that's you've got to have a long-term view of it. And I think really, you know, I'm in media and I'm in production, but, you know, clients are in marketing or they're in pharmaceuticals or there could be anything. So for us, we absorb as much information as we can from our clients of what they're doing and help them to re-communicate and, you know, just fill the gaps of whatever they're doing. We're very curious people. We're always going to try and be more curious, ask better questions. That's quite helpful in this. See, like, have you ever been in a podcast being interviewed by anyone?
Yes, yeah.
And, like, would you say most of the time if you're the interviewee, right, you're just being asked questions that are like, that you answer and then you just kind of stop?
Yeah.
Does anyone ever say, what do you think? Does ever anyone else interview you on your podcast, like I just started doing?
Right, like it gets thrown back at you.
Right.
Yes.
So we try and, you know, make bring a better conversation to what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's just experience, right? But that's the bit I love. It's not doing the finance. It's not doing it's not, you know, I love being responsible for other people and paying, you know, salaries and those things and building something. But this is the bit that I find the most joy in.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, just working with other people who are great, not even doing it myself.
Yeah. Now, Marc, can you tell me a little bit about your transition from employment to self-employment, the work-life balance? How's that been for you?
Well, it's different in my industry, I guess, because like we have the Adelaide Fringe, and we have mental health months because I talk about predominantly mental health. So like I'll have a burst of, I think at the start of the year I did about 170 gigs from January all the way through to March, or April, which wasn't great because I burnt myself out, and we've got to learn. I've got to learn because again, like you're saying, Josh, like I wear a lot of different hats. I'm the driver, I'm the tool manager.
How many people are going with you? Are you doing this on your own? Or
no, sometimes I'll take 3. I've got a crew that I take with me, and I've got a crew of comics that I like to use that I know that are good and solid, and I put my brand behind them. Like, well, these guys, I know they work well. I put the banners up, I put the lights up, I put the PA, I run the PA, I run the door, and now I could hand it off to other people, but I like welcoming people to my show.
Yeah.
Come into my show, like. And they're like, oh, but you're the comedian. Yeah, no, I want to be here. Because to me, it's not about comedy, it's about connection. And it's about building relationships with people. And, I go back to venues where the same people, hey, Mark, I'm like, hey, look what's going on. And then I'll talk about stuff. I remember one show I did, I was like, yeah, so, this year my wife left me. And people were like, oh, we didn't know that your wife left you. And then one lady was crying. I'm like, don't cry.
They're so invested in you personally.
Right, so it's different. But I guess it changed because, again, I was working in a warehouse where it was just picking boxes. And then all of a sudden I put my heart and soul into every event, which I try and do because I think my way of performing is to give a piece of myself to the audience, which is it going to be my downfall? Maybe not. I don't know. But that's what
that's the superpower. Being able to understand, being empathetic, sympathetic. That's fantastic.
I think on the flip side is that I don't know how to look after myself.
This is what I was going to ask you about boundaries and burnout. Yeah. So what does burnout look like for you and how you kind of know that it's coming on?
I get real, because my health will decline.
Yeah.
And then my mental health gets really bad, really shifty and shaky. And I think a lot of people talk about resilience. Oh, you can be resilient. No, I'm going to say take a step back. If you live with a brain like mine or if you live with mental illness, you're already resilient because you've survived 100% of your worst days up till now. So just give yourself a break, right? So being kind to yourself, but I'm good at coming back, but the other side of it is eating well. Supposedly a box of Pringles isn't a good dinner, but I mix it with dip. I know, right? I mix it with dip, so it's pumpkin, whatever.
Some roasted capsicum.
It's a healthy, it's a balanced diet, it's potatoes, but I think that's the hard part is because I love my work, and if someone says to me, I think I'm talking about K's in the car, last year, I drove 300 Ks one way of Adelaide, came back that night because I had to be back the next night, then drove to the Flinders Ranges, which was another 300 the other way, and came back in the morning and then had to go to Melbourne for something because I'm passionate about what I do. But that's, already in a week.
Yeah.
There's,
I think that's the perfect example of perhaps what people think running a business is going to be versus the reality is that... I don't know, and you can probably both speak to this maybe differently, maybe the same, but I think it can go two ways, right? You either feel like you're procrastinating, not going anywhere, you're almost paralyzed by the overwhelm and you just don't feel like you're doing anything, or it goes so far the other way where you work 24/7 around the clock and people laugh and they're like, I left my 9 to 5 to, have flexible work-life balance and now I work 24/7.
Yeah.
So what's your take on and which one do you kind of feel like you've sat in?
I've been sitting in the wrong one for far too long, being, constantly procrastinating and doing it 24/7.
Yeah.
Which has been really horrible. And the reason is because I've stopped running because it's cold for a month.
Yeah.
And literally when I stop running, I stop eating really well. And when I stop those two things, I stop sleeping well. And when I stop sleeping well, I stop being effective. And then what was procrastinating because, every other creative person, I've got ADD and I'm celiac and I've got to look after what I eat. The ripple-on effect is actually causing the thing that, rippled.
Yeah.
So you've really got to catch yourself. The only way to catch yourself is by having a holiday, and the only way to have a holiday is to feel like you can. And
what do you mean by that? What do you mean by feel like you can?
Well, if you've got things that are... No, not you've earned it. You just don't have to worry about anything because someone's covering everything. It's just being really organised. And I can hear we're similar in some ways, and, creative places generally are a bit similar. When there's a lack of admin supervisor, or you've said yes to too many things, something's going to give. It's going to be you, and burnout will look like just a series of failures. Things aren't going very well. Yeah. People are pissed off. Clients pissed off. It doesn't look good. I don't think for a small business you can have burnout and be like, yeah, everything's great. I just don't think that's achievable. I don't know how you would be able to keep 100%. Going. The resilience part is you've got unlimited amounts of resilience, which is horrible because there should be a limit on your resilience.
Yeah.
But, I think learning how to call things early becomes... Everyone figures it out at some point when you run a small business, and that's the key, is calling it early, being brutal and going, nah, I took the easy way out, I should have taken the hard road, and now I'm left with a hard situation instead of easy situation.
Obviously, a strategy to avoiding burnout is having boundaries, good boundaries put in place. What do they look like for both of you?
I think for me...
Mark's like, I don't have any.
I don't know.
I
I kind of do, but also in the space that I work in, distress isn't a 9 to 5 thing. So I get a lot of messages from people after I do a show or if I do a podcast like this or whatever I do, people message me and go, hey, I'm like you, right? And I find myself in really, I've done the training and I'm good at sitting in the mud with people. But that, I can't help myself. My therapist gets angry at me because he's like, dude, you're doing more counselling than I am. And I get paid to do my butt. Yeah. I don't think it's guilt anymore because I've got a different theory on a lot of different things when it comes to mental illness. But I also don't want to leave someone hanging when they're like, hey, I need help. And I'm like, yeah, of course. Here I am. So, sometimes I find myself, at 11 o'clock at night answering Instagram messages going, I should be asleep. But this person is in distress, or taking phone calls and going, hey, give me a call if,
Yeah, but I think you're clearly a compassionate person. I think you actually need to do that. I need to do that as well. It's like someone I knew was looking for a job and has been struggling, and I was like, oh, hang on a second, I know someone, I'll call you right back. And I just called someone. I've noticed that a lot more people lately are starting to pick the phone up and calling, which is, I hope that improves.
Yeah.
But connection with people is super important because I feel like as a business owner, if you're not connecting with some people regularly, whether they're clients or friends, it doesn't really mean just people.
It can feel very isolating otherwise. But I think it is important to monitor it though, because for example, what you do, and it's obviously something you're really passionate about as well, Josh, that connection is like why you're doing it, right? Yeah. Like you keep coming back to the word connection and everything like that. So it is important. You speaking to those people once you've stepped off stage on social media is great, but I find being on social media, sometimes when I put something that is a bit more vulnerable or it's very real, when I get then this influx of beautiful messages or people sharing their stories, it's exactly what you've put out to do, right? Like it's connection, but the noise of it and then the taking on everybody else's stuff, I suppose, even though I want to, I notice myself to start spiraling. So I have to have clear boundaries of like, okay, when am I shutting this off? Is it okay if I haven't gotten back to 100 people? Do you know what I mean? And so I think knowing your limits, knowing how it affects you, I watch other people, they go, I just thrive and I could do it and do it and do it. Whereas I get hazy and I get lost and I get overwhelmed. And so knowing your cutoff point, I suppose.
There's too many things you could be doing, right? Because you could always be doing something. You could come to work forever and the place would never be fully clean, right? It would never fully right. It would just, and it's not a perfectionist thing, that's just there's an inordinate amount of things to do. And whatever industry you're in, media, AI, marketing, the future of everything is changing. And so we're in perpetual change, which means you need to be agile and able to change. And I think, being small and nimble and agile for a small business is very important. Knowing who your network is and who you can call, your little black book.
Yeah.
Right, I think that's really important. But I also think just trying not to, say yes to everything is really, really important, and learning that straight away.
Yeah.
Also, there are things that lots of people do where you're like, I have to wear all the hats. The flip side, the really positive thing by wearing all the hats is that you know how to talk to everyone. You understand their language. Yeah. And so I think being able to know that the communication between these two people isn't going right, that's really important.
Yeah.
And I think what he's saying about communicating with people, there's a training I did, and they talk about you're responsible for and not responsible to. So I'm responsible for making space for you and creating space and holding space, but I'm not responsible for what you do after that. Or that you're a human being, you have autonomy and agency. Whatever you do after that, I held space for you. You know what I mean? And it's not a pride, it's just hey. So I really take that on because, I get some crazy stuff comes across my Instagram and I'm like, wow, woof, that's, there we go. But then I'm like, but you're responsible for you as well. I'm responsible for me. And, burnout's real. With my therapist, we've got 3 things we check off. Have I drunk enough water? And I'm like, yes, there's water in beer. And no, I'm just joking. It's just, I don't actually drink. I'm actually sober. So like, but like, have I drunk enough water? Have I eaten? Have I slept?
Yeah.
And if 2 or 3 are out, then we just go back to basics and go and, practice the art of doing nothing, but deliberately doing nothing. Like
how productive rest can be.
Right, like going to the beach and just...
It sounds so basic what you said in terms of like, did I drink water? Did I eat? Did I sleep? But it's like...
No, I agree.
We forget about them.
Yeah.
It's actually the most important things to come back to. And I have mentioned this before, but when I'm feeling burnt out and I'm losing that passion, am I losing passion and should my business be shutting down? Or do I actually need to address like rest and all of this and then go, oh, now I've got that fire back again,
But if you feel like it's too hard, there's nothing wrong with having a side gig or looking for a part-time job or going back and getting a full-time job and just trying to do it. Like you don't, like, leaving it is what most people do after the first year. So if it's not for you, it's not for you. If you are mad enough and you decide you're going to do it and you've got that passion, right? And you might not have the choice either. You might have to stick it out, right? Like you might have inherited someone else's business and there's too much debt and you've just got to work through it. Or you could be in so many different situations, but call it early. Just call it early. And also, and then if you're calling it and you're staying on, set yourself rules to work by and live by and do your best to like constantly be reassessing those rules and, are they working for you and for the business? And I think you'll get a lot of freedom by having rules to follow.
How do you both stay motivated when you are your own boss? Like, how are you staying accountable? How are you pushing forward?
Well, again, in the space I work in, like we're in literally a mental health pandemic. So there's no, like, and everyone reads out the stats and everyone talks about this stuff every day, right? But I know, without sounding like a knob about, I know what I do works.
Yeah.
And I know it makes a difference. So there's no, my problem is working too hard, I guess, because I'd, if I could do this every day, I would, because I can see the urgency in it. Yeah. And it's not tokenistic, it's real life. And so that's my thing. I'd push harder if I could, but the universe slows me down as well.
What about you, Josh? What sort of, when no one's checking in on you, how are you staying motivated?
The shareholders.
Okay, so you got some check-ins.
My daughters and my wife. Yeah. I think they're pretty good and motivating me. I think, there are times where you're doing 120% of stuff that you could not be bothered doing. You don't want to do it, the books, the drive cleanups, the marketing stuff, whatever. Like, there are definitely times where I don't want to do that. And when I'm avoiding that, I start to go, no, I have to do it. And so at some point I just force myself to. And then I feel a sense of achievement in something. And then I go and I usually try and find something I find a lot of joy in. And which is something like this. Yeah. And then, I don't know, the tank's got a bit more gas in it and I can get on with it. And so, but I think it's about finding something that is boring, that needs to be done, doing that, then finding something that I want to do. Yeah. And then that's usually sort of a process over a few days.
Yeah, beautiful.
And having sacred time as well. Like, I always think about, like, I've got a fun pivot during December. I dress up in a red suit and, ho, 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 Merry Christmas.
Must be, like, that generally must be fun.
It's so much fun. So much. And I love, because I actually genuinely, my family's complex, so Christmas is difficult for us, but I love doing that, right? I actually did have someone ask me one day, when do you do your Santa gig? And I was like, December.
You wouldn't believe it, they're close to Christmas.
I know, right? Because any other time of the year I'd end up on a list. That's what I'd end up on if I was just walking around in a Santa suit. You goose. Anyway, and it's sacred time, like picking stuff. Like, for instance, I got season tickets to Adelaide Crows. Yes, we're going to win the premiership. And this is the first time I've been able to say that for years. But that's sacred time. Like, I booked that out with my son. We're going to go watch football and we just talk rubbish. And we cheer and we yell at umpires, and it's the best fun. And it's always that's that time. Do you know what I mean? Nothing interrupts it unless it's sickness or whatever. But apart from that, that's
strong,
Yeah.
And then, like, other people do networking. I feel like I should be doing more networking.
Right. I feel like there's always
like
things
a
that we
business
feel
club
like
or
we should be
something.
doing more.
I would
could be doing more.
I would say that's helpful. Just ways to involve yourself in some sort of club to be able to have like a new business pipeline that doesn't feel like, new bit salesy that you're a used car salesperson.
Yeah.
I mean, that sales is really like uncomfortable for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think trying to automate that with AI would be number one for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think, that sacred time, that goes also for development and thinking and business planning and all those sort of things. They're really important, but it doesn't feel like you're working because you're thinking about the business. And I think that the business coaching that I've got is that it actually is, it's just the companies that plan their business across a year and 2 years and 5 years, and they're generally the ones that make it through those first 5 years.
Yeah, wow.
And also, can I just say, like, also deleting narratives around, like, for instance, I've got people in my life that will ring me and go, so when are you going to get a real job? Like, you do have a real job. Like, you do, like, even though you're running a small business, because that's the biggest thing that I get. Oh, but you only work for 45 minutes a night. Do I, though? Do I? Because
no,
I don't. Like, it's a long process. Like, to start Fringe Festival, for instance, registration's open next week. Yeah. So I have to write a show, have to develop a poster. I have to do that all myself. I find a venue, pay the registration, market it.
Yeah, but after a while, you've done it enough times, and then you've got a process, and you say, so it's worth it. That's why you just got to keep. That's why everyone just says, just keep going, don't stop, just keep going.
Yeah, but it is a really great point to realise, just because some people in your life don't understand the field that you're in, to not stop, because I've had that a lot where people are like, I don't understand it. It doesn't fit into what I view as a career or a certain amount of hours or whatever it might look like. And so being able to kind of hold that identity and that narrative that you're talking about is really important when starting your own business. Guys, thank you so much. I think it was very important to unveil what actually happens as your own boss and how to manage your time and energy a little bit. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Cheers. Thank you.
Now, if you guys want to find out more about Assuria and the Workforce Australia Self-Employment Assistance Program, check the show notes or head to asuria.com.au/podcast.
This podcast was recorded on Gadigal land. We acknowledge the First Peoples of Australia and pay respect to elders past and present. We honour their ongoing connection to land, waters, culture and community, and extend that respect to any First Nations peoples listening today.